Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to this very important knowledge sharing session on digital transformation. My name is George Onekena. I'm the CEO of Crown Heights Consulting Services, Mooresville, North Carolina, USA. This event is being arranged between Crown Heights Consulting and Sani Garba Consulting. And as part of the programs and event, we have decided to put together to create awareness on very important subjects which individuals and organizations need to be familiar with. Digital transformation is very key to whatever we are going to be doing as organizations now and going forward. For those of you who listened to the interview that was held 3 days ago, or 2 days ago rather, with Professor Ram Charan, you will see the emphasis he placed on digital transformation. So this event is therefore very, very, very critical and important. And we hope that it's going to be the beginning of the kind of service we are going to be providing to help organizations prepare for the future. You already received the invite to this event, and you have seen the profile of the presenter, Sani Garba, and I'll just pass over to him for him to introduce himself, additionally himself, and go on with his presentation. This presentation is going to last for 45 minutes. After that, we will create time for questions and answers. So I want to encourage you to listen attentively, take your notes, and ask questions. I also want to, while you are going through this, I want to say that digital transformation is not just so much about technology. It's also about process and people. Indeed, the first thing for an exercise like this on digital transformation is the people, to ensure that people understand what it is, what it entails, and what it takes to do what is required to be done. So, Sani, over to you. You will start your presentation now.
Right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are most welcome to this virtual event on digital transformation, where we will be making some emphasis on digital transformation to achieve a true modern workplace. So you are welcome. It's being organized between my firm and Crown Consulting, being managed by the CEO, Mr. George, a person par excellence. So I personally thank George for this opportunity and appreciate all that he's been doing for the community. He has given you, we have, excuse me. As he mentioned, since most of you, if not all, are from the forum, you have received a brief regarding my humble self. And I encourage you, in case you wish to know more, to go to the website, my website at sanigarba.com. But basically, I am a solution provider certified by Microsoft in the areas of data analysis, which is the in thing, as well as Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 is a suite of solutions that comprise your favorite Office, Microsoft Office 365, or the home and personal editions. It comprises the Windows operating system and so on and so forth. So I provide a solution that could be customized or simply deploy those solutions of Microsoft that I mentioned for use within any required system. And there is a solution for every system. So this is the menu. We're basically going to look at digital transformation, just a brief putting it in context. We look at cloud computing because that's where the transformation descends from, and then how it impacts you and your organization, and see some aspects of solutions that are out there. I intend using very simple language because digital transformation itself is a complex and difficult subject. So it will be of no use if you explain it using technical terms or computing terminologies that may be confusing. The hope is that you understand it well enough, or you add to your understanding such that you will be able to also be an advocate, not just a practitioner after the knowledge that you may gain. So the first aspect is what is just a refresher definition of digital transformation. You know, it's a simple integration of digital technology. That means all the information communication technologies that you know of into all areas of business and changing the way you do work. And your work most certainly incorporates your customers or your clients or your citizens if you are a government. It's a cultural change, but most importantly, it's about connectivity that has brought about globalization and the opportunities that abound. So let's see the interconnectivity of the digital transformation between technology, the enterprise, and human, because basically these are the three most concerned or interrelated factors regarding technology. So you find this is a simple Venn diagram showing these interdependencies: technology, human values, enterprise, which will, the one way or another, depending on where you look at it, shows you the cultural evolution between the technology and human values. When you bring them together, there is that shift. There's that paradigm shift that has to happen when humans interact with technology, as well as the behavior must have to change between the human values and the enterprise in terms of the customers and the workers who work for the enterprise. And of course, most importantly, the opportunities. Technology and enterprise mean opportunities, vast opportunities. It's up to you to define the scope, the level, and which opportunities matter most to you. So the impact on enterprise and work, it substitutes repetitive jobs. And this is where most of us seem to fear technology. I remember the last webinar we hosted, I was asked how machines are going to replace us. Yes, machines will, but it all depends on the scope of work and type that you do. Machines have already started replacing some aspect of the low work and accounting. If it is repetitive, it can be automated. If it can be codified, it can be overtaken by robots. But if it cannot be codified, emotions can be codified. So you can't use robots in that regard. So these are the basic areas of impact. Markets, new market will evolve. Data, of course, will drive all that we do. And of course, skills. It's no more about the folder of degrees that you have. Yes, your degrees matter, but you need to upskill. So what are the attributes? Let's get this big data, because it's the elephant in the room. It's all about big data, because whatever you do, and when I say big, it's data that is not small. And when big data, we mean the scope of generation of this data, like the Facebook data that is generated every second. It's being analyzed, and the output is instantaneous. That's why they dish you all those adverts that are relevant to you, because they know what you need and they give it to you. So these attributes of data is good that you understand what they are. Volume, that is the size, of course, it's just enormous, zettabytes. The velocity, that means the speed at which data is generated, is really phenomenal. And the variety types, you have videos, you have photos, you have documents, and so on and so forth. Of course, because of the veracity requirement that data needs to be reliable, that also adds to the complexity. And of course, value. If it has no value, it wouldn't be happening. So what is cloud computing? That's the second aspect. Cloud computing is described as the delivery over the internet, which is called the cloud of computing services, comprising the following resources. So you see, there's nothing physical about the cloud. It's just something that takes your mind, because this thing is over the net, Wi-Fi, the broadband services. But you find that these data centers are physical. I think in the United States of America, in Virginia, you find large data centers. So that's where you have the physical structures of servers, storage, and the networking infrastructure, which together, that is here. These are all physical structures that you will find in the data center. And these are software, analytics, intelligence. These are things that are within the structures, the physical structures that drive the computing. So the cloud computing, you will find that it's being driven by the physical as well as the not physical, coming together to compute resources and give the value that we have mentioned, and which we'll look at in the next slide. I hope these videos we are not covering the screen. The screen is not covered. This videos here.
It's recording.
This, are you seeing without interference from the video of participants? Because they seem to, okay, I will hide this one. Okay, good. Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it seems to have frozen a bit. Okay, let me. Okay. Good. So you can talk about cloud computing without looking at the models and services, because here we have the, excuse me. Clear drawings. Okay, I needed to have a clear screen. So the types of cloud computing that is basically there are three: the private, the public, and the hybrid. The private, you find most organizations like the financial institutions, banks, they wouldn't want to have to be on public cloud. The difference is that a public cloud, all those resources we had looked at in the preceding slides are being shared by everybody if you are on the public cloud. That means you can look at it as a computer that people share. That's what the public cloud is. But the private cloud is a separate computer for the owners. And sometimes a private cloud can also be a community cloud where a particular sector, like say a banks of a particular place, community now decide to have a separate cloud, a separate set of their own computing services. And the hybrid cloud, which is preferred by also governments and some health and financial institutions, is where you combine your on-premises computing services. That means you have your own servers in your own location. That means your computers, all your computing and the software, you have some in your premises because you don't want to outsource for security concern everything to the cloud, while you now outsource the very critical aspects that only cloud computing can provide you. So I mean in the cloud. So when you mix the private and the public together, that's when we say you are using a hybrid cloud. And then the services you get from this cloud computing are either, they are broadly three: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. I won't bore you with the details about that, but the software as a service is the one we are most conversant with. The Office, for instance, software that you use, the Word, the Excel, they are software as a service. But organizations that will prefer, like Facebook, it's using PAS, platform as a service, for instance. Next. I'm getting some phrasing. Okay, so the impact of digital transformation on work ethos. There is no doubt that there is paradigm shift, and it's cultural, it's very monumental, and the impact of COVID has proven that. We have suddenly found ourselves experts in video conferencing. That's a cultural change. Digital innovations have enforced changes in enterprise management, work, and content delivery. Repetitive and monotonous functions in accounting, for instance, are certainly being taken over by robotic workers. And the most critical aspect of concern is obsolescence for those who might be lagging behind. And I always want to return to that because people have continuously asked me the question. So let's take the accounting profession, for instance, just briefly. And we are conversant, even if you're not in the accounting business, you know the accountant's record, and at the end of the day, they need to summarize, they need to interpret, they need to report on the records. And that's when they prepare the accounts. And if you look under the traditional functions, all these, they make fiscal entries. The books have to take in the book, you have to write. Sometimes you write in pencil. When you are ready, you erase and you put in the pen. Manual computations, you use your calculators, predictable. Well, at the end of the day, in my view, this is okay. And all these are prone to errors, which may not be discovered. And that's not so with automated processes. Whatever you do, and it's very deliberate, I repeated, automated, and self-correcting, because that's what it is. When you digitize, everything is automated. And once you get it right in the first setup, you are okay. It will self-correct itself because you have codified the operations. If this happens, do this. If this minus this doesn't equal 0, then something is wrong. So it's the ability to do that is what requires the upskilling of workers. So to transition to modern expectations, accountants, for instance, need to acquire digital skills. And these digital skills will enable them, look at on the right-hand side, to be able to have descriptive abilities in terms of the analysis of the work that they do, to diagnose, to predict, to give a prescriptive solutions to problems that they identify. And they need to have cognitive abilities to do this. And that's why robots cannot take over everything, because only human will have the cognitive abilities to understand the emotions and provide solution. Only humans can set up business. Robots cannot set up business, so certainly they wouldn't be able to. Robots cannot take over everything. So automation introduces complexity, and that's what we have been saying. So you need to imbibe the hybrid philosophy, maintaining traditional values of diligence, and prudence. For instance, the accountant must be diligent and prudent, but he must employ modern productivity tools in order to deliver in this new age of technology. So this is encapsulating that. The ubiquity of technology is everywhere. You can't escape it. This is it. The ICT has enabled us to Zoom. Somebody is in Akure, I'm here. And in fact, another participant could be just in your next door. You might not know, but you will be meeting over the internet. So these are the things that you know, but just in focus. So the impact, if we continue just bringing in our own perspective. This is my own personal perspective to the whole issue. For those that are really interested in the horizontal or vertical upskilling, like we say, or this African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. So what I mean here is that an enterprise should not just digitize, should not just transform itself without transforming the workers. If you do that, it wouldn't make sense, because a system in itself is a collective synergy between workers and their operations. And therefore, the success of that enterprise depends largely on the productive capacities of the workers. And therefore, the organization must help them. But then the worker himself must really build the passion to change. Change is always difficult. And secondly, you must be able to invest in yourself. The propensity to invest as against consumption, what we're told, is prosper, and they are, I think they are invariably kind of related. If you invest, you definitely do less of consumption. So it's up to you, and you have to maintain your focus. If you want to do something, you want to upskill, don't wait. There are certain upskilling abilities that you need to require, not by waiting on your enterprise to do that. If you are the enterprise, then you need to support your workers to go ahead to upskill. So now, digital solution for the modern workplace, because this is where we want to spend a little bit more time on. The technologies we have looked at are either wholly developed, because if you are a very advanced enterprise, you will want to develop your own technologies. But those technologies you develop definitely will require some form of computing services that you have to find elsewhere. If you require to reserve the ability to, because of privacy, like a government, you will now maybe require a cloud service provider. A cloud service provider, these are the top in the business now. On the left-hand side, you see Microsoft, you see Amazon, you see Google. These three are the top providers of computing services. IBM, Oracle, of course, and Alibaba are also among. But the top three that are really dominating the cloud are Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. So under IaaS, they provide you with the infrastructure, but you provide your own servers, and these servers, they are virtual, of course, they are in the cloud. They provide you the servers, so you go ahead with your own capabilities to design and develop your own software for your own need. And that is what comes usually under IaaS. But under PaaS, that is platform as a service, you require only the platform to be able to develop your application that you need to run your business on. And therefore, the PaaS mostly is for building your applications. I mentioned Facebook. Facebook does not own a cloud, for instance, computer data center per se. Netflix, all those videos you see, they are being hosted from the cloud. And the database, the software that is used to run all those services with almost zero latency. You click on a button, a video runs. So they have developed their software based on the infrastructure that was provided by one cloud service provider or the other. So PaaS is built upon IaaS. That means the resources you find under PaaS are also discoverable under IaaS. And then the SaaS, you have nothing, you just consume. You just consume the resources. Like your Excel, once you click, if you are on Office 365, once you click on Excel, you immediately start using the service, because everything at the back end is being maintained for you by the cloud service provider. So on premises, PaaS has the organization has an in-house digital infrastructure to drive organizational process. Under SaaS, you acquire out-of-the-box solution for all digital needs. So once you have your SAP package, once you have your Office package, whatever it is that you do that you cannot modify, you cannot customize, that is most likely a software as a service. SaaS is software as a service. But where you mix your own in-house customized solution and another, maybe the security aspect of it, you outsource, then you will be using the hybrid solution that we discussed earlier. Now, it's good to just look at, to understand this, the solutions and what are the benefits of digital technology and cloud computing. Why do we really need them? Besides the fact that, yeah, it's ubiquitous. There's nothing you can do, it's there. You have to use, it's like you are forced into use them in some instances. Well, basically, several factors have been identified, discussed, and most of them agreed upon regarding the benefits or reasons that you should use cloud computing services. The security, despite what we hear, cybercrime, this and that, yeah, but there is still security. And we will see how security comes to play as a large benefit for in modern digital solutions. And of course, the fault tolerance here is that these computing services have been replicated. The infrastructure has been replicated, and the backups are so much so that if anything happens to one aspect, there is an immediate compensation by another equally important and similar infrastructure that will correct that fault without you knowing. So there may be fault in the service we're enjoying now, this Zoom, but if a particular center that is broadcasting, that is hosting this, happens to collapse, because look, these things are not infallible. So if that collapses, the takeover is immediate. They look at it as the automatic changeover if you have a backup generator. And it's highly available. Anywhere, say, George hosted this from the United States, and we're able to enjoy the facility everywhere. Scalability, that means if you are a small enterprise and you grow, it's going to expand with you depending on what solution you have adopted for yourself. It's an agile solution that is there for you to really take advantage of. It is elastic within the resources themselves. It's elastic and scalable. Scalable goes up, elasticity like kind of horizontal. disaster recovery, you can tie that with fault tolerance, the backups, and the ability to recover from disaster. That's one of the benefits associated with the cloud services. And they have quality control. They do have quality control. That's why able to immediately adjust to concerns. And perhaps the most important aspect is cost saving. If you are in the accounting business, you know how capital investment is of tremendous concern, and it is amortized over a period of years or over the life period of the business. But with the computing solutions now, businesses just need a space and a computer. They don't need servers. They don't need hardware computers. If you're conversant with how servers used to be in the days, 10 years ago, before you set up a server and the networking, it's a 6 months kind of project you have to undertake, and you have to sustain that. And when you look at the balance sheet in terms of fixed assets, it's a large chunk of that. With cloud computing, now, once you go cloud, there's no more capital expenditure. Every operation is turned recurrent. It's just a recurrent expenditure that is spread just over the service of that financial or fiscal year. And that is what's happening. You now find less and less of capital expenditure and more of recurrent, which is not being scaled by the elimination of capital. It's not. It's also being scaled in accordance with your need and expansion. That's one of the greatest benefits of digital transformation. It does not necessarily mean an increase in cost. Of course, the mobility aspect and sustainability, the mobility, you can carry it anywhere. Your laptop, you can conduct your business. You can conduct this webinar. You can listen using your mobile. So you could be in transit while you do that. It's sustainable. That is the cloud. They make such huge investments to ensure that cloud services are always available. And of course, the globalization is that is referred to here, the global reach. Everybody knows everybody, reaches everybody. But whatever creates opportunities and benefits also creates risks and challenges. And significant to cloud computing is concern on privacy, information protection, and compliance. We know we are now in the age of digital, of course, transformation, and we are also in the age of high scaling of cybercrime, and that is of great concern. Let's see later how that is being mitigated. So, as you have seen earlier in the introduction, I'm a partner to Microsoft. So, and the solution I know is the solution I can talk to you about, and that is the Microsoft solution. But the basics, whatever I speak about Microsoft Cloud, is what obtains whatever solution you have out there. And why am I harping on Microsoft? You see, if you've been following the news, there has been this partnership between the Nigerian government and Microsoft, which was, I think, led the leadership of the country in the person of the Vice President, Professor Osinbajo, and the leader of Microsoft, met virtually and introduced this agreement. The MOU has been signed, and lots of benefits abound. They intend not less than 5,000 kind of digital skills to be introduced. People, about 2,700 workers are going to be upskilled. Lots of advantages abound. So even if you are not personally going to be affected in terms of the upskilling, this infrastructure, this matter we're talking about, I think we should encourage the workers with us or our children to please be on the lookout, and because most of these things are free of charge. But if you don't know, you wouldn't be able to enjoy them. And the learning facilities that are being provided are really free of charge, and you should endeavor to find out how you or your organization can benefit. So the Microsoft solutions, notable among these are the Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Azure is the cloud computing environment where you find either the public, private, or hybrid cloud, where you find the computing energies, the computing services, as we discuss as AAAS or PaaS or SaaS or Windows as a service will be found. And we have the Microsoft 365, which is the office that you find in almost every organization in Nigeria, whether public or private. So these are Microsoft services. And 2 days ago, a new game-changing service was introduced by Microsoft. It's called Windows 365. You know, the incompatibility of the computers, the personal computers, pieces. Say you have a laptop, HP laptop that is running Windows, and a Mac that is an Apple laptop that is running a Mac operating system. You can't use the products, the solutions that you run on your laptop on the Mac. That has changed now. With the Windows 365, you will be able to run Windows, not even on the laptop, but on your tablet. And that is huge. That means the scalability, the availability of resources of computing services are now going to be more available than ever. So, but are you aware? How far have you gone in enjoying the little or what is there now? And this one is coming to overtake, and you might find yourself lost and being unable to understand if you do not empower those that need to be empowered to be able to understand the fundamentals. Just begin with the fundamentals. And I'm not saying you are not using digital. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just encouraging us to do more, to upskill, to understand these digital skills better than we do now, so that we understand automation, the processes that we can do with the simple solutions that we have right now before us. And most importantly, we must be able to decide that we are going to buy, we're going to pay, we're going to give value in order to receive value. Why I'm saying this is I know about the public service and some few other organizations. We like free software. And that's where the security implications are most to be found. When your software is free or pirated, I'm reluctant to use that word, but that's what's happening. You find that one copy is installed on several computers, which is not licensed to be so installed. And therefore, that makes your system vulnerable. So if somebody, an IT personnel comes to you and gives you a cheap product, and because he sees that you are concerned about cost, you don't want to pay much, so he gives you that cheap product. It's not cheap. It's like what the pharmacist says, the cost of cheap medicines lingers well over, the effect of that has gone, the cheap medicine has gone. So you must be able to sacrifice value in order to get value. Do not use software that is pirated or free. So if you are able to do this, if you are able to really to invest and buy the right software, then your security concerns will be less. I'm not saying it's 100% gone, because you need to do more. So Office 365, let's look at the concept of the value pack that you get from any solution that you choose to install on your system in your organization. It's better to have a particular package rather than getting a WhatsApp for your business here, and maybe running a customized point of sale spreadsheet. This, to manage them, is going to be Herculean, and the cross-data implication might be very costly. So you need a solution like the Microsoft 365, the Office package, where you have all your apps in one place. And then you can chat with your colleagues, because if you're using, for instance, Teams, which is the equivalent of Zoom in Teams. In Teams, we could be collaborating with files. I could send you files, you can annotate the files, we can interact on any kind of analytics that we so wish. We can invite several people within and outside the organization. The saving is huge. All your files are stored in one central location. That is the intranet, something that I think is underutilized in most of the places I have been to, because part of the package provides you with the ability to set up your own intranet, sites and subsites that you control. Only you and the departments that you so wish to deploy the solution to. SharePoint is an excellent solution that organizations use to keep everything within control. So like mentioned here, some of the savings that had been verified by studies, that you could save an estimated 1.3 thousand, that's $1,377, about over 500,000 naira using a consolidated package per employer if you use these packages. So I hope you're taking note of that. Then this consolidation, what does it do? It eliminates multiple usage of apps and solutions. You collaborate real time. You can have a whiteboard or blackboard as we know it, which you can collaborate together. I'm sorry, this is not a demonstration webinar, and that's why some of these things will have to
Zoom, so I don't want you to connect and disconnect. Then we pray.
Can you mute? George, George, can you mute the participants? Yeah, some of you. Hello, George.
I think about machine so I don't get it.
Oh, is it you? George, are you hearing me? Hello, George. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm hearing you.
Okay, good. Okay, there was a mic that was on and interference. So we're having some. Okay.
Please, all participants,
with
please
Teams,
mute
you
your
have
phones.
unlimited video conferencing. You can create.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's muted now. It's muted. Okay. As I have explained, you can create sites and subsites with SharePoint so that you can have an intranet within your organization. It's like well, you are on the internet, but you are not on the worldwide internet. You are on your own intranet, in-house internet. So you have everything in one place. You have your video, you have everything that you do within the office, you can conduct within your sites. And one of the areas of concern, the security, you have the built-in multi-factor authentication, which is proven to be to eliminate security concern up to about 99%. The multi-factor authentication method requires that whatever you do in terms of identity, access to a document or information, you have to authenticate using 2 or more other forms of identification method. You have to identify yourself. Usually a phone, you receive an SMS via your phone to indicate that you are the real owner of the account. So messaging is secure. IT management is handled centrally for you. All your files, calendaring are in one place. So look at this. I will allow you to look at this at your own time. It's just explaining further what this package does for you. It consolidates all the productivity apps that you need. It eliminates the need for multiple vendors and invoicing, because there's only one invoice that comes to you at a time of your choice. You choose whether you're going to have it monthly or you prefer the annual payment of the services. And definitely the most important aspect is the productivity. It promotes productivity all within a single platform. Imagine if within Zoom, you can do everything. And that's what Microsoft Teams offers. You can do almost everything you can do in the office in Microsoft Teams. And these are what you get within the package. On the left-hand side, you see the three categories: the collaboration aspect, the file storage, that is what you get. You never run out of space. And of course, the security aspect, which is of critical concern. You can see how it's being mitigated by any of these packages. Let's look at the main security concerns, of course, is about information. How is your information protected? And it does that wonderfully well. It identifies, validates, and verifies users before they are granted assets. And the endpoint is that the devices you use, they are authenticated and administered centrally. So when you get advanced and are really concerned and serious about security, you can have an impenetrable kind of defense. If you're able to supply the tablets, the PCs, the phones, the computers that your workers need, you can protect them as your endpoint. That is the devices that interact with the cloud. You protect them. The cloud is protected for you by the cloud service provider, and you are almost 100% secure. User data evaluating email messages and documents for malicious content. That is done every time. That is data in transit or data at rest. But we will see where the most security concern is in terms of email. The cloud apps are protected for you. You don't know that is at the back end. If you're using Microsoft 365 as a SaaS package, everything is being handled at the back edge. And that is the infrastructure of the cloud computing environment is being professionally and handled for you. So protection from threats coming from outside, and of course, your workers, threats are coming from the risks that your own workers are exposed to in terms of their interaction with the internet is being protected under the package. Their data leaks are the data is protected from leaks, and then the access to the data, most importantly, is being protected, granting access only to those that you desire to go to which package or which area of the solution. Now, look at this. This guy is there waiting for any opening for them to strike. And look at the statistic. 95% of cybersecurity breaches are caused by human error. And that's a fact. You can research this further. 95%. So what do you do? Therefore, you need to target workers, because if you're able to handle the capacity to err less then you are protecting the enterprise better. Protect the enterprise by protecting the workers or the way workers handle work. And look at the recommendations. They need to know. You need to train them. You need to train them and retrain them. People need to unlearn. You need to forget, not forget in the sense of totally not able to remember, but forgetting to use those methods, the culture of the tradition, the back tradition. You need to know, yeah, it existed, and then build on it. You unlearn what you need to unlearn so that you can build on what you already know and accept the modern way of doing things, and only through training. And then through the understanding of this, then you limit access. People should, not everybody goes to everywhere within the system. Data should be restricted in terms of access. The disaster recovery plan should be sound. That is, besides the one in the cloud, you also have your own. And you need to be carrying out some drills every now and again to ensure your recovery plan is sound. And again, refresher course should, that is, keep on training, keep on training. So 95% of cyber crime, human error, and 71% of cyber attacks targeting SMEs because they are most vulnerable. The super giants, yeah, they are exposed one way or another in their own way, but the SMEs that may not be very well digitally proficient may be easier target than the larger corporations. And 92% of malware is delivered by email. So like I mentioned earlier, we're coming to this. This is it. 92% of malware, email. So the culture of work has to be really one area you must pay concern, but you can't do it. So what's the solution? The solution is to acquire the package that will deliver to you the security needs that you definitely need. So that you restrict people going to app stores, going to places to buy these apps, because 99% of malware is discovered to come from outside applications that you buy. Data security threats, unauthorized access to information, exactly are those threats that you need to be concerned about. So I should be rounding up soon because my time is, we allocated 45 and I should be coming to an end very soon. So this is one of the remaining slides where we're coming to an end. We'll just round up on understanding digital transformation and the critical success factors. There are basically, you can expatiate on this, but basically the three have been identified as critical success factors to pay much concern to. The business model. And the first thing is the strategy and leadership. If you have a board must necessarily develop an IT strategy. I recall there was a webnair was hosted in which we discussed the need for IT governance. If you are interested, you can ask George to give you information regarding that submission that was made. It discusses ways to go about establishing a governance structure which necessarily must include a digital transformation roadmap, which is required to help you in your transformation journey. Technology and data culture play a very vital role, but we must not forget everything that we do, the customer is king, and you must have to remember the digital experience or the experience you want your customers to have. And you must overhaul your relationship and the platform and ways and manner in which you interact with your customers. And of course, the operational processes, that is the infrastructure itself, the team, and the solution, the digital solution that you might have chosen. And we have given you some of the recommendations, advising you that one, most importantly, please educate, 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 upskill, upskill, upskill. And when you do that, you will be able to be in a better position to know the best solution for your enterprise, either as a one-man business, a sole owner of your business, a partnership, or a company that employs several people. I thank you most sincerely for giving me this opportunity, and to George, especially for hosting this event. I wasn't, I knew people find the topic digital transformation a very difficult one and boring. It is boring in a way, but is necessary. And the only way to make it very much more interesting is through a kind of demonstration. I'm sorry, this one is just a kind of getting across some principles and concepts across to you. And therefore, I expect it to really be a bit, not something that was very palatable, because the demonstration aspect will have lightened it up, but it was not meant to be where we will demonstrate some RPS. So thank you very much. Again, my details are there. You can always reach out, connect with me. And George, over to you. I'm ready if we have time for questions, for any questions that may be asked. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Sani, for such a wonderful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank Sani enough. He has, within the shortest possible time, provided an overview of this subject matter. I just want to leave the floor open. I want to check whether there's any. There are no questions. So does anybody have any comment or questions to make? Unmute yourself, then speak.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
Hello.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello.
Okay.
Godfrey, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thanks a lot for your presentations. I just want you to do another clarification on this issue of digital transformation, digitization, and I say digital transformation, digitization, try to differentiate between the two. And then I think I've forgotten the other one I wanted to mention. So if you can differentiate between the two, yes, that will help. But then the other area is when people are, transitioning into digitalization, when people are transitioning into digitalization, what do you
Unmute yourself.
Am I still on?
Yeah, Godfrey, you are on.
Okay,
you are.
So when people are when people are transitioning into digitalization, what do you consider to be critical success factors they need to avoid issues of downtime in terms of failure of by service providers in terms of network challenges where they are unable to be available, especially their systems and processes. Also check about, of course, we are looking at, I'm just looking at the concept of the CIA, confidentiality, the integrity and availability. What do you consider are the critical success factors the enterprise should consider, to ensure that these, challenges you face in these areas are promptly, curtailed or curbed? Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think I can answer based on after each question, right?
Yes, yes,
okay.
Yes.
Yes, with the first one, there is a vast ocean of difference between digitization and digital transformation. Digital transformation, like we said, it's the coming together of technology. And when we say technology, look at your computers, look at your telephone. Imagine you think of NITEL, and think of your system of computers, and think of MTN coming together to provide you with Facebook, for instance, because it's the services of the NCC that licensed MTN to give you ability to have data. You understand? All these are part of the processes that you call digital transformation. We got digitally transformed through this, the management of Nigeria, or I would say government, was able to sit down and determine the need to have a mobile, our telephone system. And the telephone system, overhauling the telephone system was the first stage that ushered in the ability that you have telephone providers, mobile telephone service providers to come and be able to give you the SIM card with which you can now have the data to connect to the internet. These processes in this simple form is what you can now describe as part of the process giving rise to digital transformation. On the other hand, digitization is just a process or an event or an activity within an institution of trying to make all documents or processes digital. Okay, a simple example is this. You buy a large scanner in the human resources department and decide that all your human resources records are now going to be in soft copies. So you scan using a particular software that stores your information. You see, digital transfer, because you are digitally transformed or proficient or intelligent, you are able to have the scanner that can intelligently scan those copies and have all your documents within a single system. Maybe just one backup is all that you need to have all your files digitized. So that is digitization. Digitization is the process by which you transform one form of an element into another, in this case, the digital form. I hope you understand what I mean. That is, in its own very basic definition, is just the transformation of one form of your records into another. While digital transformation is the gamut that talks about the digital transformation, the digital technology, when you bring everything together to change processes, to change enterprise, to change customer experience. The fourth industrial revolution, in short, is what digital transformation is all about. So you can see the vast difference. You find digitization a subset or something you will find in digital transformation. And regarding the second one, how do you ensure lesser downtime? Well, this is a governance thing. This is if, for instance, George in the United States will not be talking about this, but here in Africa we talk about this. Why? Because our infrastructure is deficient. You know, that's what we are all talking about. That we can develop, we can go further if we lag behind in infrastructural development. But Nigeria is doing wonderfully well in terms of broadband provision because the computerization aspect and because of the market available in Africa. Nigeria in particular, you find that these giant tech companies are investing heavily. If you remember, Mark Zuckerberg was in Nigeria and he has an interest in Lagos. Google is supplying a lot of broadband capabilities. And Microsoft, as I mentioned, there's a documentation. I want you to look at that and see the wide range of services that implementation is going to bring. So with this, our infrastructure is definitely being targeted for development and it will improve. But before then, to be able to ensure low latency of connectivity, you yourself must have to determine how you take care of your enterprise. As I'm talking to you now, jokingly, I was telling George before we started that I have 2 backups. In addition to the main data service I'm enjoying, I have 2 other subscriptions for data that are waiting. In the event I'm cut off from one, I switch to the other because I wouldn't want to be cut off from you. So it's the same thing with you in your enterprise. People are looking for solutions. Visa solution, you can have your own dish. You have the service provider in your area that will ensure a good broadband for you because the services are there. It is your own responsibility to connect. And once you connect, there is a guarantee of 99.9% of service provision of less downtime in terms of provisioning of this service from the providers. So it's your own infrastructure. It's a national thing, it's a local thing, it's a personal thing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, sir.
You're welcome. I think George has stepped out. Any question? Okay, George.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Godson, for your question, and thank Shani for the explanation. Now we are going to find out the question that Godson has asked is very important, and it's important that we note them, you know, because one of the challenges people have now is that people will just do digitalization and they just stop there. Whereas what you need to take advantage of this technology is the transformation. You know, you take advantage of the whole gamut of technology available and use it to change your organization. You know, so it's total your organization, your process, your people. The whole business is transformed as a result of the application of technology to the business. But what some people basically do is digitalization or digitalization. You just apply technology to a process and you think that you are digitally transformed. No. In fact, if I may ask from a strategic perspective, in digital transformation, you use technology as a driver. So it's a growth driver. Whereas in digitalization, you use technology as an efficiency driver. You use it to do what you are currently doing more efficiently and more effectively. But in transformation, you explore the whole gamut of technology to change the way you deal with your customers, the way your customers interact with you, and the way you innovate in your business. You just bring the whole gamut of technology into play. Right. So thank you very much. Do we have any other question or comment? All right, so I must thank you very much for this session. Let me thank the presenter. Sani, you have taken your time within a short notice. You have put this together for the benefit. Yeah, you have a question? Okay. For the benefit of our group. So thank you very much. I think we'll be calling on you again when members of the group have any questions or issues to address. For our my dear participants, thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring this invitation. I just need to say that whatever you want to do with regard to transformation, you remember what Sani has said, is the people that is very, very critical. Once you mention digital transformation, what you just communicate to people is fear, because people just feel that as a result of this development, they're going to be affected. But it's true that you can't have any change without affecting people. You cannot, they say you cannot make omelette without breaking eggs. People are certainly going to be affected because they are just be affected. And sometimes when people are discussing these technology issues, right from those days, early days for me, for 1990, people just have this feeling that, oh, technology will not take away jobs. I don't think that is true. Technology will take away jobs, but technology will bring in new jobs. And that's what much need to be understood. And what management should do, what it should do from a strategic perspective, is to just understand these issues and deal with the human factors that that are associated with this. And what I mean by dealing with human factors, it is very, very important. And when you start communicating about technology, digital transformation, employees have to know what is the effect on them and what can the organization do to minimize the effect on them. And there's no point really pretending about it. If you want to digitally transform your business, account will be affected. Like Sani has explained, everything that is repetitive, can be automated. And once it's automated, that role, that work is affected. And what I prescribe, what I'm going to prescribe to people is to sit down, and this is a leadership issue. Sit down, determine the effect on people. You have that understanding, and you know see how you're going to deal with it. But you cannot be running with the how do you say, you run with the hair and you hunt with the dogs. You cannot. You have to be very definitive as to what you are going to have to do.
Yeah.
It's very you have to be definitive. And what I have prescribed in one particular situation where I had the head of the HR kept on saying, "Oh, the problem we have is that this is going to affect us. It's going to affect our people. If things are going to affect your people, decide on what you are going to do." And because you are concerned about your employees, which is very valid, what you do, you see, look, what are you going to do to help your employees to deal with this situation? Number one, that they must be trained. You now see how you can retrain them for some other roles in the organization, if applicable. But if it's not applicable, people are going to be affected. They'll just be affected, and their careers in the organization will have to end. Then you have to see how you're going to deal with it in the most balanced and effective way. I know of an organization where the man sat down and said, look, what is the benefit to me of digital transformation? He calculated all his savings. And I said, look, this is what I'm going to get from digital transformation. So what did he do? He now computed that figure and said, look, this benefit I'm going to get, I'm going to share this benefit with some of the employees who will be out of jobs. And I decided to say, look, this is the situation of the organization. We have to change. And because you're just going to be affected, I no longer need you, but I'm going to pay you X, Yeah. And for that X, for each individual, it was substantial. Because what you are doing, you are telling your employees, look, I no longer need your services. This is the amount I'll pay you this for you to take over or take on your life from where you are. Indeed, he actually offered them support. Sonny, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm supporting what you're saying because so not just smaller, that's the global thing.
And there are a lot of things the guy did. He now looked at his organization and said, look, okay, you can no longer work here as an employee because of this transformation, but what else can you do for the company? And some he actually gave contracts to start supplying something to the company, and some he gave job to do as training, and it was just, of course, they cannot answer to every need.
Yeah.
But everybody who's leaving the organization left with happiness and with some substantial amount of money. In fact, when some employees that were not affected saw what was being offered, they were asking to be included in the scheme. Because that's how good it is. So we have to act like business people. We have to act like people who have information. I'll give you a simple calculate this is just general. Calculate the value the company is going to get from transformation. Let's say over a period of, say, 5 years. When you have completed it, maybe it's 10 million. You now say, okay, fine. Out of this 10 million, what am I going to give to these employees? Because you have to have a benefit for what you are doing.
Yeah.
You have to have a cost for your transition.
Yeah.
So what you now
and be
do,
transparent and be transparent about it. Yeah.
So what you now do is, okay, we're going to save 10 million. So let us take it 50-50. All those who will be affected by this change, we are going to share 5 million.
Yes, yeah. And let them see the transparency.
So that's it. So it's very clear. People now understand. But if you don't do this, I mean, I'm talking from my experience in transformation. I worked for a company in the mid-80s when we were computerizing that time. Some people just said the thing is not going to work. They say it's not going to work. And when they say it was not going to work, it's not just because of faith in the process, but also because they were going to sabotage it. And this is very, very fundamental. I can remember very, very clearly where, because I was nice to the cleaners. One of them came and told me my computer printer that time was found in the trash dump. So I took a whole output report. I mean, this will have been very embarrassing. You know that time we used to have this big document. You print a lot of documents, and if you lose it, they are going to go through a reprint, and you have to pay for that reprint. Somebody took the whole report and dumped it somewhere. So it's very, very important. This is delicate.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's a delicate issue, and the dimension of staff cannot be overemphasized. So I thank you very much once more again for coming. Sani, thank you for a good, wonderful job done. And
thank you.
We look forward to where we're going to take you to the next step. So having said that, do you have any other questions? Okay, I think nobody has any questions. So thank you very much. We'll bring this webinar to a close now. And goodbye, and God bless you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.